Celebrities do all the time. They're so entitled. At this caliber, that's something that he should have gone to jail for, if you ask me. Hi and welcome to Floss and Talk. I'm Kjersti Flaa, and here on my channel I talk about my good and bad experiences in Hollywood, working as an entertainment reporter, and a lot about Blake Lively. Some people have said that I need to talk about other things than Blake Lively, and I do. So if you watch my entire episodes, there's always going to be other stuff in there as well, but when there's news about the Blake Lively situation, I have to report on it. Anyways, yesterday I did a video where I talked a lot about Demi Moore and how she was crowned the most beautiful person in the world by People magazine, and how I really feel about that. And I wasn't sure how it was going to be received, but I was so positively surprised to see all the comments that so many people agree with me that we shouldn't put women on pedestals that have done a lot of stuff to their face and call it beauty, because it's damaging for younger generations and for us when we get older. We can't compare ourselves to people that don't look real. And as I said yesterday, I think we should stop valuing women by beauty and give out rewards to beautiful people. Some of you also commented on the Emma Thompson clip that I showed where she talked about that, and we need to have a revolution against these things. And I also wanted to share a little clip from an interview I did with Juliette Lewis, who's also one of those people who has a real face.
I do understand what you're saying, because we live in this consumerist society that advertises, be pretty, be pretty.
Yeah. And be young.
And be young. And I've always revolted against that, even when I was younger, of what somebody else is telling me beauty is. I was bound to do the opposite. And even now, I think priorities is a huge thing. If you have your priorities together as a human being, then you don't get lost in appearances. I mean, yeah, we want to look nice and take care of our skin and all that stuff, but with a grain of salt. I mean, you can't go crazy with it. And I'm really against like all that plastic surgery stuff, because all you're seeing is like, oh, wow, that girl's done weird stuff with her cheeks. I don't see a young person. I'm just going, wow, her lips look off.
Why isn't her face moving?
Yeah. It's so bizarre. But there's certain parts of Los Angeles that's like an alien planet. So I'm determined to be really against that.
It's great to be in a movie with Meryl and Julia, because those two women, to my mind, have never looked better.
Talking about beauty standards, today I saw Daily Mail did this story about Khloe Kardashian and how she completely changed her image for a campaign she did, and it was apparently this was a part of a shoot for her reality show, and the fans were watching the show and were behind the scenes when the shoot happened, and then they saw the final result. So this is from the reality show, what it really looks like, what Khloe Kardashian really looks like, and this is the final version. It looks like a complete different person. I mean, this is old news that people are doing this to their images and photoshopping it so much that you can't see who the person is. But I don't get it. Why would you be proud to show off a different version of yourself? Everyone can look like that with the right app. It's, you know, there's app for everything today, and you can look like a completely different person, but it just gives you no credibility. And I think especially for celebrities who's trying to sell us stuff, like, don't sell us this stuff. Also, Radar Online did this really interesting investigation on the Kardashians. Not that anyone's interested in them anymore. I feel like they're kind of passé. But for a long time, the headlines were always about the Kardashians and what they did and what they posted on social media. And I don't really feel like I see that anymore. But anyways, they did a really deep dive into their social media accounts and their brands, and to find out how many of their fans are real and how many are bots. And it was pretty shocking. So according to the data, Khloe's Good American Fashion brand has about 30% fake followers on Instagram. From the 2 million followers, 740,000 are fraudulent. Kourtney Kardashian's brand, Poosh, seems to be generating a bit under 29% of fake accounts. And it also revealed that Poosh has a brutally low social engagement percentage of 0.1%. Kim Kardashian's Skim brand, which I think is the most famous one at this point. Almost 29% of her followers are fake as well. While revenue for the company has increased since 2020, it appears to still be relying on fake followers to boost their image. This is terrible. And Kylie's makeup brand, Kylie Cosmetics, is said to have nearly 28% of fake Instagram followers. So she has about 24 million followers, meaning that 6 million followers are fake. It seems like everyone has around 29% fake followers. So it seems like a pattern here. And it says here that this is not the first time Kylie has been caught in having bots. So this website called inbeat.co looked into Kylie's social media in February this year, actually, and found out that under a quarter of her followers are genuine and real. 95 million of her 394 million followers are actually real. That makes me question all other celebrities as well. I thought that if you bought a lot of followers or bots on social media, that Instagram would shut down your account. Then I received an email from someone a couple of months ago, and he told me about these bot farms, especially celebrity bot farms is big business in Southeast Asia or in Asia, in India, in Pakistan. They have these big bot farms for celebrities so they can feel more popular. Also, a terrible news story that made me really sick to my stomach when I saw it yesterday is about Jon Hamm. I don't know if you've seen the story, but I don't want to quote anything from it because I was so disturbed when I read it that I felt like I was about to get sick. Because what he did when he was 19 and a frat boy to this other kid is appalling. I didn't know this story. Apparently, it had resurfaced in 2015, but nothing really came from it. Now, this woman called Callahan started a new podcast, and she digged into these accusations against him again, and it's horrifying. So he basically tortured another student. And when I say torture, I mean really tortured with really horrific things. I will link the Daily Mail article below so you can read it yourself if you want to see exactly what happened. But the fact that Jon Hamm kind of just got away with this, even though he's 19, you can say you're young, but the violence and the brutality and the horror that this article is describing is just beyond me. Like, why hasn't he been cancelled? I've met Jon Hamm a few times. I have to say I had only good experiences with him. You know, he's very good with media. He's good on talk show. He has a new show on Apple TV Plus called Your Friends and Neighbors. I actually watched it and I thought it was really good. But now I don't know if I can watch it anymore because now when I know this stuff about him, this is so disturbing. So this hazing victim, Mark Allen Sanders, he's a successful lawyer in Texas today. And he's never really spoken out about it. But Jon Hamm was arrested back in 1993 for alleged assault. But the charges were dismissed, but he completed a period of probation. But that's it. And Jon Hamm has been asked about this. This came up in 2015 in an interview in Esquire magazine. The journalist Maximilian Potter said that as soon as he brought up these allegations against him or this incident, Jon Hamm just got really tense in anger and said, I wouldn't say it's accurate. And everything about that is, say, sensationalized. I was accused of these things. It's hard to get into it, he said. And he said, I don't want to give it any more breath. It's a bummer of a thing that happened. I was essentially acquitted. It's a bummer of a thing that happened, that you tortured someone. I wasn't convicted of anything, he said. I was caught up in a big situation, a stupid kid in a stupid situation, and it's an effing bummer. I moved on from it. Well, that's good for you, Jon Hamm. You moved on from it. But I don't think this kid that you tortured ever moved on from something like that. Now that Daily Mail brought it back up, they actually called Jon Hamm. And his reaction was he got furious. Jon Hamm picked up the phone. For some reason, they had his phone number, which I'm impressed by. And Jon Hamm said, I think you should call my rep. Who are you? This is inappropriate. It's a very odd choice for you to call me. He snapped at the reporter. And then he says, They are claims that have been around for years. No, I don't want to respond. And then he said, I'm a little offended that you called my personal line. That's why we have representatives. That's why we have representatives. So you don't call me and ask me about my past. How should his rep answer about his past? The only person who can answer about this is Jon Hamm himself, because he was the one that was involved in this incident. Anyways, I am curious to see where that ends up, if it's going to be any consequences for Jon Hamm at all. I really hope so. And he needs to take responsibility. Don't just like push people away when they confront you with something like that. You have to take responsibility. You have to apologize for your behavior. Yeah, this is what celebrities do all the time. They're so entitled that they think that they don't owe the world an explanation for something that they've done, when it's this, at this caliber, that's something that he should have gone to jail for, if you ask me. Okay, Ryan Reynolds was interviewed yesterday because he is on Time's 100 list as well. And apparently Blake Lively is going on stage today at the One Time 100's gala in New York. So we'll see how that goes. So Ryan Reynolds was interviewed on stage and he talked about, and he got some good questions, but of course he didn't answer the question.
You've intentionally positioned yourself as the face of your many businesses, which obviously has a huge upside. You can feature Deadpool in these commercials. People know who you are. The downside is you cannot always control what the internet is saying about you, what the headlines are saying about you. So how has that media attention impacted your brand, your businesses?
Well, no, it's like Tina Fey says, if you're feeling good about yourself, just go online. Which is so true. Honestly, I give a lot of talks to students about storytelling.
Yeah, that answer makes no sense. He started talking about storytelling and that he had difficulties finding out who he was when he was younger. He wore different shirts every day, whatever. A bunch of word salad. And he absolutely did not answer her question at all. I saw her sitting there just like, what are you talking about? Some of these celebrities are so good at just like diverting, here's your question, but I'll just talk about something over here. Like, she should have followed up that question and said, you didn't answer my question, can you please answer?
Do these talks. Sometimes, the last one I did, I mentioned that the greatest superpower I ever had in my life, I'm not talking about just my career or anything, was knowing who I am.
Anyway, someone sent me an email today and saying that she has started a petition to get Blake Lively removed from the Time 100 Most Influential People list as a Titan, or I'll just get her removed from the list. So if you're interested in that, I will leave a link below. Also, something really weird happened to me today. I was researching on this Reddit article that someone posted about. It was a New York Times article that was posted back in 2016. And it was an article about Blake Lively and her movie, The Shallow. And it was kind of a review of the movie, but it was most of all just a real jab at Blake Lively and what a horrible actress she is, and that she doesn't deserve to be on a big screen, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I thought it was interesting and I read it, and then I went into this time machine thing and I saw that this article was updated. So the first time it was published was in 2016, and then it was updated 24th of October 2024, which is basically around the time that we think New York Times started working on that article about Blake Lively. And I was like, wow, did they change something? Why is there a new version of this article? So I went over to ChatGPT and I asked ChatGPT, can you compare these two articles and see if there's any changes from the 2016 to the 2024 article. And I got this answer with all these changes that were made and all favoring Blake Lively. And I was like, wow, is this real? Could this really happen? And ChatGPT continued talking about like, oh, do you want me to draw this out for you? Do you want a PDF file of this and that? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I looked at all of it and I was shocked. I was like, oh my God, New York Times, what did you do? But then I started looking at the articles because I wanted to double check. And I went into another AI and I put the 2 articles in there and I said, are there any changes? Are there any differences here? And I think it was Gemini said, no. And I looked myself word by word and there were no changes. So lesson of the day, don't trust ChatGPT. Because that could have made me look pretty bad if I didn't double check that. Anyways, this article, I still wonder though why they actually did a new version in October of last year. So what this article is about, this guy who wants to see Kate Hudson in a movie, and he just think it's her because it's a typical role for her, and he goes down and he sits down in the movie theater and he realizes it's a movie with Blake Lively. And he says that he's stuck in the middle of the theater, so he can't really move and he feels lazy, so he just sticks in his seat. And he says stuff like this about Blake Lively. As it turns out, I can't tell you how much I enjoyed the movie about Kate Hudson and the shark, because less than 4 minutes into The Shallows, I realized that Kate Hudson wasn't in it. Really, it's worse than that. It's a Kate Hudson movie that actually stars Blake Lively. And he says, with the right star, this sort of stuck out there all alone thriller, so she's stuck somewhere with a shark, obviously, is a gift from movie studio heaven. Man, I hope Sandra Bullock figures out that Russian space shuttle manual so she can get back to Earth. And then he says, but with the wrong star, it's like reading the manual. And Miss Lively is a Russian manual sort of star. And then he says, I at least struggle to understand her career. Her performance as a junkie in The Town features the Bride Wars of Boston accent. Her performance in The Age of Adeline as a woman cursed to stay 30 forever was like watching a mermaid ride a bike. She tries, but her acting hasn't yet caught up to her algorithm-generated beauty. Alas, there may be no algorithmic solution for that. Then he says, while some actors make sense on movie screens, there are others who might make better sense on a can or something. Beer, beans, air. And at the end he says that, but a movie like this, if it's written even semi-competently, can be rigged for triumph. Unlike Miss Hudson, Miss Lively seems to need to be liked. And he says, I still wish Kate Hudson were in the movie. What can I say? I wanted Fool's Gold, but I didn't mind getting plain old pirate either. Not a great review for Blake Lively, and this is New York Times. I mean, if this isn't smearing someone, I don't know what is. This is kind of cruel. If I was Blake Lively reading this review, I would start crying. But anyway, so that's what New York Times did back in the day before they started defending her. So yeah, unless it was Justin Baldoni who went back to 2016 and made sure this article happened. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching. As you can hear, I have a cold. I'm not feeling great, but I'm here and I'm doing my best to keep up to date with everything. So thank you for sending me tips as always, and thanks for subscribing, and thanks for all your comments. I've been reading a lot of them. It's really great to see what an amazing community this is. Yeah, you know, it's really encouraging to see that. So thank you guys, and I'll see you in my next episode. Bye.